Okay, here we are. It's Friday, December 12th, 2014, and only a couple weeks left. This is Movie Reviews and More, and MovieSharkTheBlur.com. Debbie Lynn Elias.
Yep.
We got some great movies. What we were talking about earlier, a great show, things coming up in the future for next year, but that comes later. But we got 3 movies that opened this week.
Well, actually, before we even get to the movies, this has been a really big week for the, as you call it, the rewards season.
Absolutely.
With SAG Award nominees being announced, LA Film Critics announcing their winners, and then the Golden Globes yesterday morning. And Boyhood is really just taken off amongst, with everybody.
Yeah. Great film.
It's a great film, but what surprises me is that while Ethan Hawke and Patricia Arquette are garnering accolades for themselves, I'm really disappointed at the nominating committees, or in the case of LA Film Critics, in the voters, our colleagues themselves. Everybody overlooked Eller Coltrane, who is the boy in Boyhood. And Eller just gives an incredible performance watching him grow up over 12 years' time.
I'm happy for Richard Linklater, though, too. Because,
very much so.
Just the fact of that going on for 12 years and the growth.
Yeah.
And you're right about the boy. How could you overlook that?
Eller delivers an amazing performance. Not to, say that Ethan and Patricia don't, but somebody somewhere should have recognized Eller and his contribution to Boyhood. Also thrilled, Nightcrawler is getting a lot of love. A lot of love for Nightcrawler.
But you should be happy about that too, championing that. I think that was a great thing.
I just love that film. I will lay myself down for Dan Gilroy as a writer and director. But again, I have to question, everybody overlooked Rene Russo.
Uh-huh. And you had a great soundbite of her getting that role.
Yep.
So again, going back to a lot of stuff, I'm surprised by Selma. That one surprises me.
That surprises me as well, but I think because of the polarizing nature of the film, because of the chapter in American history, and in light of recent events in the world today, it doesn't surprise me that the various guilds and voters are going to toss that in somewhere.
Well, we also know there's differences between the Hollywood foreign press and, certain aspects of American press. Were you surprised by anything from the Golden Globes?
Not too much, other than the Angelina Jolie snub.
That is a surprise. They love her.
HFPA loves Angelina Jolie.
Yeah. Maybe
Universal just wasn't very generous in their appreciation for the Hollywood foreign press, since Universal's distributing the Unbroken. Foxcatcher is getting a lot of attention. I still am not enamored with that film. I am not enamored with how DuPont is portrayed. If anything, now I'm wondering, though, given that nose that they put on Steve Carell in the film, I'm wondering if the Academy, if it will fall to the Academy for a potential makeup award or nomination.
Let's talk about this one. Have you seen Cake?
I have not seen Cake yet, and I'm very anxious to see Cake.
What have you heard?
I've heard two sides of the coin.
Yeah, me too.
I've heard some people are very ambivalent. The two films that we keep hearing, though, that I am so thrilled about, The Imitation Game, Story of Alan Turing, and Enigma Machine. Benedict Cumberbatch and Keira Knightley, both, getting noticed, and I'm thrilled. But then, The Theory of Everything, I said it.
Which is what you're championing on this.
The minute I saw that film, before it ever opened, my first response to the publicists were, hand Eddie Redmayne the Oscar now. For me, nothing will top Eddie's performance as Stephen Hawking. And similarly, Felicity Jones portraying Jane, she is truly the woman behind the man. And I think the two of them on camera together is fantastic. And very much they capture the relationship that Stephen and Jane Hawking had for so many decades.
It could be interesting. My female pick still is Rosamund Pike. from Gone Girl.
Rosamund, real surprise. Well, we've been following Rosamund for years. We've talked to her many times, and you knew it was there. You knew it was there. She just had to get the right role. And with Gone Girl, she definitely got the right role. So I'm thrilled to see her getting some attention as well.
Yeah.
So this is gonna break down to be an interesting, rewards season,
Absolutely.
as you call it. And we're gonna kick off shortly with the Golden Globes. Will be the first one up. Then we'll have the Spirit Awards in February on the beach. I'll be there.
And you'll be there.
I will be there on the carpet and in the press tent, talking to the winners as soon as they're clutching their little Spirit Award, and then the Academy Awards the day after that. So we're in for a nice awards ride this season, I think.
I think so too. Actually, it'll be fun.
And with all the Brits in there, a lot of class.
You never know what's going to happen with them, though.
I think we're going to have a classy awards season.
Okay, we shall see. For those who need to call in, 1-800-405-6425. That's 1-800-405-6425.
And we are hoping that a certain special someone calls in today.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, Mr. Charles Idikoff will be calling us. So, but I think we're going to take a break right now. Ann McDaniels just gotten here, and we will be back momentarily.
Hey, you're listening and watching moviereviewsnmore.com, Movie Reviews and More, with Debbie Lynn Elias from moviesharktheblur.com, and Elias.
What? Oh, Elias Entertainment.
That's right. And who else just joined us? Ann McDaniels.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for letting me be late in this monsoon of weather.
Hey.
And you've been busy with things, but we'll get into that later. Sure. Let's jump into movies. We were talking about snubs. We were talking about nominations, Golden Globe, SAG, which are very, very interesting. This is the time of the year where everybody wants to try to go out and see some movies coming up to January with their families.
And this week, we've got a really eclectic blend this week, and I have some of my favorites to talk about. Got to start with Exodus, Gods and Kings. I know it's going to spark a lot of controversy this weekend, because it's the story of Moses again. And when everybody thinks of the story of Moses, they think the 1956 Ten Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille, Charlton Heston, Yul Brynner. We now have Christian Bale and Joel Edgerton as Moses and his
Pharaoh.
Well, I was going to say brother, but he's not a brother. He's adopted brother.
Yes.
Since Moses is the adoptee. Interesting take that Ridley Scott brings us. We got 4 writers involved in this script. Steve Zalian, who won an Oscar for Schindler's List.
Yep.
Jeffrey Kane and Adam Cooper and Bill Coolidge, who write together quite often. What they have done that I find extremely compelling is they jump into the story, whereas DeMille's version, in both his version in the black and white version he did in the 30s and then again the 56 version, we start with the infant Moses in his little basket floating down the Nile, where he is discovered by Bithyia, the Pharaoh's sister, and who takes him. That is still contained within Exodus, Gods and Kings, but it's written more into an exposition within the dialogue later on. We start with Moses and Ramses as adults. They're in battle. Their father, the Pharaoh, they're off fighting the Hittites, which, sadly, the opening battle scene is really quite poorly executed. It looks cheesy, and it's the only part of the film that does. And I think it's because of the 3D, because this is a 3D film. But performances are outstanding. Christian Bale gives Charlton Heston a run for his money as Moses.
My thing is, did we have to see it in 3D?
I don't think we did. It does add a little more majesty, giving it a little more biblical proportion, shall we say.
Okay. All right.
But, technically, it is a gorgeous, gorgeous film. Darius Wolski is the cinematographer. He's worked with Ridley Scott before on Prometheus and The Counselor. He also is the man behind the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The production design, Arthur Max's production design is stunning. He's no stranger to the world of sand and sandals, having done Gladiator with Ridley Scott before. But he is Scott's go-to production designer. He's done Prometheus, Body of Lies, Black Hawk Down, G.I. Jane. And what Arthur Max gives us here is amazing. And complementing that below-the-line work is Janty Yates, who does the costuming. I had a chance to see some of the armor that is worn by Christian Bale and by Joel Edgerton. Absolutely meticulous work. The detail and workmanship that went into the individual feathered pieces, the distinction of the metal, of the look of the metals, the patinas, really amazing job.
Well, Ridley, going back to that, he's never skimped on anything when it came to his period pieces. Ever.
No. And it really shows. And what he does here that will spark a lot of debate is he combines the philosophies of men of faith and men of science. Whereas we don't have the burning bush just flaming in bright red. It's more subtle in a Tesla kind of electron look. We see all 10 plagues played out here, and I'll tell you, nobody does plagues like Ridley Scott. From locusts to frogs to boils on the skin, spectacular work. But then the masterpiece, it is the parting of the Red Sea. It's a whole new take on it, but it incorporates all the scientific explanations, which we hear throughout the film. As whenever a plague happens, Pharaoh's advisor, who is now Ramses, elevated to Pharaoh after Seti died, the advisors give the scientific explanations that have been posited outside of religion for decades now. So it's real. This blend is really wonderful. The blend of faith, the core elements from the Bible, and then the scientific explanations. I think he came up with a perfect formula there. I have a couple problems with casting. Joel Edgerton plays Ramses very effeminate. I think of Ramses, I will always think of Yul Brynner, and there is a reason for that.
Well, with that, Anne, did you ever see the 10 Commandments?
Yeah, part of it, definitely. Yeah, Yul Brynner killed it. Very masculine, very king-like. And
you don't get that with Joel Edgerton. He walks around, with the little pinkies and popping grapes in his mouth and stuff, and it just doesn't.
I wonder if that was the direction, though. I wonder if they wanted him to go that way.
I don't know.
It's interesting.
Well, that's interesting from an actor's point of view.
That's the thing, because sometimes you have you create something and they're like, well, I really want you to do it this way. I remember one film I was in, and we have intonation in our voice. The director wanted me to speak in a monotone all the time. And it's like, and then yes, and I got bad reviews on that. Like, where was her intonation? Where was her emotion? It's like, but you don't want to blame the director. Like, well, I was told to do that, but and then you have to find a happy medium. So you never know, but it's interesting.
And the more you watch it, it's in all the body language and mannerisms. While he's totally buffed out and he looks damn fine in gold armor.
Magic Mike Ramses.
It's it's a little bit disconcerting, and your mind goes back to saying, damn, where is Yul Brynner when you need him?
Yeah.
John Turturro is cast as Seti. He does a fine job, but he just feels uncomfortable in the part.
Well, if you just think of John, you can't imagine him in that era, first of all.
Yeah. But, he does fine, but it just feels like he was uncomfortable in the era
he might have
coming
been.
across. Sigourney Weaver, of course, a Ridley Scott staple.
Yeah.
Sigourney plays Ramses' mother, conniving, scheming mother to you. And it's just a shame she doesn't have more screen time, because she is amazing the time that she's on. Ben Mendelsohn plays Viceroy Hagep, who is the one who tells Ramses of Moses' birthright of being a Hebrew and not of royal blood. Here again, it is hilarious. His performance, it's actually comic relief within the film.
Do you think it's supposed to be? Or do you think...
Oh, definitely. The way it's played, the way he plays this, and it also casts all the sexual aspersions and as to which way Ramses is flowing. Because of the leers that Viceroy gives. So
interesting.
it's really interesting to see this. Aaron Paul steps in as Joshua. He plays Joshua. We're so used to seeing John Derek in the DeMille version. Aaron Paul physically fills the bill beautifully. Doesn't have much dialogue. It's really interesting. He's very observational within the film. He is the only one that ever really sees Moses speaking to God. And of course here, God is not a booming voice from a mountain. God here takes the shape of a child. An angry child. A vengeful child. So it's very interesting, and the whole allegory and the metaphor in there, because the Bible is replete with things about sheep and children, and all of that is beautifully worked in here.
So my question at that point, will faith-based come out to see this, to support this movie?
Right. I was going to ask the same thing.
I don't know. I think they will, out of curiosity. I think my aunt, one of the most religious people I know down in Omaha, Georgia, I think my Aunt Ruth will definitely want to see this film.
Okay.
It doesn't skew from the issue of faith and the belief and the journey and the whole history of the Hebrews and the enslavement. That it does not mock it. It does not minimalize it. Treats it with great respect.
Debbie, do you think every generation would appreciate it? Like, look at the Passion of the Christ. Church groups, Sunday school groups, all the way up to people in their 80s would go see that.
Yeah.
Do you think this would stay that way?
Same thing.
Okay.
And if for no other reason, you're going to want kids will want to see this.
This is entertaining and gives
for
a
the
message.
for the parting of the Red Sea, for goodness sake.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was going to ask for those the 18 to 25. Would they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It is visually stunning. And just seeing the plagues. Come on. Who doesn't want to see 10 plagues unfold?
Boils on the skin. It's interesting. And can you tell us about the devil? How does that come through?
The devil is not even brought in here. This is just the story of Exodus.
Okay.
Now I want to see somebody go do a Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, to get the devil in there. But no, this truly, it is a spectacle worthy of Cecil B. DeMille. I think Cecil B. DeMille's probably smiling down on Ridley Scott with this one.
Okay.
It's got some flaws, but overall, it is solid storytelling. And as I said, melding the issues of science and faith, it has been done beautifully. And this comes from a former Sunday school teacher.
And you went into Cecil, so let's go into Cecil. There's an event tonight.
There is an event tonight celebrating
100 years.
100 years.
Cecil B. DeMille. Hollywood. I call it Hollywood Highland, but I think it's Highland Museum.
It's the Hollywood Museum that is further up the street across from the Hollywood Bowl.
Right.
Right there near the turnoff to get over to the Ford Anson Theater.
Jerry Digney and company is putting that on, and his daughter. I forgot what her name, and her name escapes me right now. But she's telling it through her eyes, if I'm correct with this. I don't have my notes in front of me on this, but it's tonight at 7:30 at the museum. It should be interesting. My intention is to go, depending on the weather.
Depending on the weather. It's my intention also. But
Yeah.
when it took almost 3 hours to get to Whittier from Culver City, I'm not holding out.
Well, and the fact that the weatherman said yesterday, don't leave your homes on Friday. By all means, don't leave your homes. It's just, when you're from the Midwest and the East Coast, I mean, people.
That's
Not that bad.
True.
No,
That's true.
You just have to be aware of everybody else who's out there.
Absolutely. But the strangest things happen. Like our electric garage door wasn't working the other day. The last time it rained, it was all the electricity went off on the street. You couldn't leave the building because we're subterranean parking.
Yeah.
So Lyft, was coming picking everybody up, and Uber, and
Yeah,
Well,
interesting.
made a lot of money that day.
Today, ironically, my condominium complex, they are shutting off all the water to do more plumbing work.
Yes.
Obviously,
And she's happy about that.
I bet.
yeah. Obviously, anybody who is sitting in the complex today, if they need water, they can just take a bucket and stick it
Debbie, you
outside.
can shower at my house if you want to.
Well, thank you so
Ryan, too.
No, I'll go to the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have a few other movies opening. There is something for everybody this weekend. I quickly want to mention Expelled, which is absolutely hilarious. The whole concept behind it is writer-director Alex Goyette. It's all YouTube and Vine sensation guys who are in this film. Alex Goyette is known on YouTube as Jewel Thief. Then he's got the hit of Vine, Cameron Dallas, Marcus Johns, Matt Shively, Leah Marie Johnson in here. Think Saved by the Bell meets Ferris Bueller meets Fast Times at Ridgemont High meets Van Wilder.
It's probably something you would have been cast
Absolutely,
for.
I'd love to. You know,
This is... It is a joy to watch this. I want to see this since we no longer have Saturday morning cartoons. I want this as a Saturday morning show. It is so much fun, and what's really interesting, and I talked to Alex about this the other day. I didn't bring any of my interview though. I should have, but I talked to Alex about it because typically in a lot of these teen movies, high school hijinks films. And shows, you've got drugs, you've got alcohol, you've got parties. There is none of that in this film. There isn't even profanity in this film.
Ooh, that's interesting.
which is a little.
This is
reality.
straight. These are just hijinks. It is kids who are trying to be creative. It's changing the grade on a report card and hacking into the computer system and all of the.
So that's where the Saved by the Bell thing comes in.
Right.
Very innocent. Crime.
Very innocent, but it is so much fun. It is so entertaining. All of these kids. Matt Shively's been around for a while. Matt has been on TV quite often in a lot of pickup roles. Leah Marie Johnson has also. But for Marcus and for Cameron, this is it. Other than doing their own YouTube and Vine things, this is it. They are all fantastic. And teens out there looking for something, parents who worry about your 12 and 13-year-olds going to the movie, they can go see this. No problem, no questions asked. So that's something, especially with bad weather. Go to the mall, go to the theater, and there's something good that they can see. One of my favorites this week is a documentary on Orson Welles.
I agree.
Chuck Workman's documentary called Magician, The Astonishing Life and Work of Orson Welles. And an astonishing life it truly is. What Chuck has done, he has combed the globe. He has obtained interviews, many of which we've seen before, but we've never seen them put together in a package and broken into different aspects of Orson Welles' life. But you really get to see the genius of the man. And I had a chance to do an exclusive interview with Chuck. I can't talk today. I think it's the rain. I had a chance to do an exclusive interview with Chuck about the film, but also because most people, they may not know Chuck Workman's name, but they know his work. He's been doing all the Academy clips since 1988 that you see during the Academy Awards. All of that is Chuck Workman. You watch TCM, Chuck Workman is the one who cuts together the beautiful 15-minute montage, an homage to TCM.
Brian, you probably know him personally then, don't you?
Yes, his stuff is excellent.
Sure.
He is phenomenal. And of course he is from Philadelphia. So enough said there.
East Coast.
But I had a chance to ask him about what it is about his style and his work that appeals to people and why they connect to it so much. And here's what he had to say.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with having confidence in the viewer, that the audience. I don't think that most Hollywood studios have a lot of confidence in their audience. They want to make it very clear, everything. And I think that we're seeing things all the time. I'm seeing things, you're looking at me, you're seeing things, I'm looking at you, all of your bracelets and everything. We're constantly seeing stuff that, and a beautiful ring also.
Thank you.
That there's other stuff going on in our life and in films that we watch, and we can show that. We can point that out to people, or I try to, and that brings them in closer to the film in a way where I want them to come over to the film. I don't have to put the film right in their face.
And that's something about Orson Welles' work also. It was very enticing. It's very enticing to this day to the audience. And throughout this documentary, Chuck tracked down a museum in Germany that is restoring some of the unfinished films, because Welles worked up until he died and there is a mass collection of unfinished works.
It's amazing the people in this country and around the world have things sitting in their basement attics that their kids don't know of
Right.
sometime, which is unfortunate. Don't throw anything away to look at everything. But finding these golden nuggets around the world is incredible.
Yeah. And for Chuck to take the time to put all this together, I mean, this has been a multi-year endeavor. But I had the chance to ask him, what is the appeal of Orson Welles and why make this documentary? And he's got a really interesting take on it.
First of all, he was an independent filmmaker when there was no independent filmmaking. So I make the point sometimes in Q&As and things that, he's like Richard Linklater, he's like Wes Anderson in terms of his approach, which is very different than a classical Hollywood director, or even of today. They're not just good, they see things differently.
Yeah.
So he saw things differently, and he had this tremendous background where he was able to kind of decide what he wanted. So he goes to Hollywood, and he can't quite decide because they won't let him in many places, because they have to deliver this product. How's that changed? It hasn't changed.
So, Orson Welles, a man before his time.
My
Without
favorite
a doubt.
Orson Welles movie is The Touch of Evil. That long crane shot in Venice Beach. Till this day, I can only imagine how he did that, but it was great to see the re-release of that years ago.
Well, I have to say, one of my favorites beyond Citizen Kane is actually Magnificent Ambersons, which has been so undersold over the years by people. It has become a favorite among TCM fans. And I'll see anything that Welles has done. And what's interesting with the documentary, there's actually some footage of when he was staging plays and doing makeup. And you actually get to see the theatrical start of what he brought into his films. Really, it's an absolutely fascinating documentary about a fascinating man. And anybody that wants to learn more about cinema, Chuck Workman also has a DVD, What is Cinema, that just came out as well, which is amazing. So I can't recommend it highly enough.
Going back to yesteryear, which is what these movies are, just revisiting. If you want to really be a really good filmmaker, a good screenwriter, or even an actress, look at these movies.
Yeah.
Go and study them. This is where you do your homework. And you watch TCM. What did they say this year? The ages were 16 to 25?
At the festival, yeah.
These kids are watching these classic movies in
Right.
black and white. They've never done that before.
We're encouraged to, because that's like real acting. We
Yes.
didn't have the CGI back then, or all the voice. I mean, they did their own work. I agree.
So in other words, do your own work, Ms. McDaniels.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see White Christmas again. It's our tradition every year.
Well, White Christmas, they just had, through Fathom Events, they just had a big 60th anniversary on the big screen.
Oh, wow. Yes, I did see that in the theaters. I just love
And you didn't
Clooney.
go.
I didn't go. No, I was probably booked on a showgirl job, Debbie. I gotta lend you that outfit.
I'm trying to culturize you here.
Oh, I'm cultured. I have White Christmas memorized. I have the whole tap dance. My sister and I do sisters. We do that every year for our family, and then we pretend to fight.
And that's a great number. That's a great
it's
number.
Wonderful, and I
That-
love that Judy, that other dancer, that little
Oh, Vera Ellen.
Vera Ellen. Oh, she's fantastic.
Yeah, she
Fantastic.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But now we've got another classic. We've got the Bible covered with Moses. We got Orson Welles, Chuck
DeMille.
Workman covered,
Cecil B.
DeMille.
DeMille.
Now we're going to talk about Jenna Rollins, a legend, a legacy, an incredible woman that I am so thrilled to first meet 35 years ago. And it was through her and her husband, John Cassavetes, that I got involved in independent film that long ago.
Very cool.
Jenna has a new movie out. Most of today's generation knows her through The Notebook with James Garner. The two of them played the older versions of Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams.
She's so beautiful.
Still.
Yes.
Still. Well, Jenna has a new movie, and she is co-starring with Cheyenne Jackson. Anybody who knows Broadway is going to know who Cheyenne is. Thoroughly Modern Millie. What else has he done? And he did Behind the Candelabra.
Yep.
With Michael Douglas, Matt Damon. It's a simple story This is actually it's translated from stage play. 2002, directed by Arthur Seidelman, written by Richard Alfieri. I saw the play in 2002 at the Geffen Theater. Since then, it has played in 24 countries. It is still playing today in the world. Down in South Africa, Brazil, Germany, it's currently playing. And I heard a rumor Leslie Caron is thinking about
I loved her.
stepping up and entering the production.
Talk about someone who could dance. And legs. Leslie Caron.
I want to look her up.
But the play is just, it is renowned, it is acclaimed, and it's a love story, really, between an older woman, widow, who wants to learn how to dance. She was married to a Southern Baptist. Her name is Lily Harrison, and she was married to a Southern Baptist minister. Was never allowed to dance, wasn't allowed to do too much of anything. But she wants to dance, but doesn't want to go to a studio, and she gets a private in-home lesson from Michael Minetti, who is played by Cheyenne Jackson. He is down on his luck. His mother has died. His partner has died from pancreatic cancer. He's gone to Miami to start a new life. She's gone to Miami to start a new life. The play was centered just on the two characters, and any references to anybody else was done merely, they're on the phone. What Alfieri and Seidelman have done is they have expanded this now. They brought in Jackie Weaver as another dance student who has designs on the gay dance instructor and doesn't realize he's gay, and Rita Moreno as the Budinsky downstairs neighbor to Jenna Rollins. It is classic. It is beautiful. It is lensed by Vilmos Zsigmond.
Oh, I love him too.
This is like a classic weekend heaven.
Debbie, what is the title again for this one?
This one is called 6 Dance Lessons in 6 Weeks. So, and I got a chance to ask Jenna, did she actually have to learn how to dance? Cheyenne had to learn certain steps because it's very precise. Much like the different dance styles we're all learning over the past 10 years with Dancing with the Stars, foxtrot, tango, paso. So Jenna's been around long enough. Did she have to learn how to dance? Here's what she said.
Yes, I when I was young, we didn't have people that taught you dances and things. You danced with your guy, or they used to have a lot of places that had that you could go to and have dinner, and there would be a little orchestra or music and a little dance floor. We had a lot of fun and didn't have any real dancing going on, I guess. But now you don't find those little places. I don't know where they learn to dance now.
All right, and Kay Cole is the choreographer of the film. She choreographed the play also. What's really interesting is when Richard Alfieri, as he wrote it, the dances are very specific to emotional beats in the play and in the film. He picked the music. That's all very carefully constructed as well, for different eras, for different levels in this growing relationship between Michael Minetti and Lily Harrison. But Jenna got to talking about what led her to this, because she's very picky about the roles that she takes, especially now. So she explained about. Actually, she gave us the whole summary of the story, her character, Cheyenne's character, and her love of the film.
I read that script, and it didn't take me 2 minutes to get to the telephone. It was the most wonderful script.
Yeah.
In the first place, to play a character so different from the other character.
Yeah.
I was old and he was young. I was married to a very conservative preacher, Southern preacher, who certainly didn't approve of dancing and touching other human beings. And he was living the good life for a while till his partner became ill, and then his partner's family treated him very badly. So he was coming from really taking the worst hurt you think you could possibly have, but then his partner's family was just laying it on him. And he was very angry. Whereas I like to think that I was sorry to see my husband go, but he was so different too, because he was a Southern minister, and he just did not approve of certain things, and certainly he wouldn't have approved of him.
That's because you sent him out at the beginning. To get out.
But since I'm old, I know that there's just a few years left, really, to one at my age. And I'm 84, and I figure she was about that too. And she just wasn't going to take it. She just wasn't going to take being miserable and, saying, yes, thank you, yes, thank you. For the people commiserating with her. She was going to have some fun, even if it's just a few years. And so she wanted to pick a town, and she picked Miami, went there, got a little place, and she wanted museums and movies and theater and stuff, but what she really wanted to do was learn how to dance. And she'd never been allowed to, and she was embarrassed at being her age and not being able to dance at all. So she called a dancing school and told them she wanted a private teacher to come to the home. And he, in the meantime, had just been wiped out and had no money and was just looking for a job, and you knew the guy that owned this school, wouldn't you say? So he told him, and that's perfect, it just got some...
Exactly what you wanted to have.
Was get a private teacher, and so that's how we came together.
She's awesome.
Is she not?
Yes.
Jenna is fabulous.
Is she truly 84?
Yes.
Wow.
She truly is. And I went to the premiere the other night, and it was so lovely. She was so in her element, and of course her daughter Zan was there, and I adore Zan. Zan is also a filmmaker, and she still has yet to write a role for her mother, something that Jenna is complaining about, because she's worked with Zoe, she's worked with Nick, she hasn't worked with Zan.
It's interesting. I would have probably become a filmmaker because of John Cassavetes, because of his films. I really liked his films a great deal. And Woman
It's not too
Underneath
late,
the
Brian.
Font. No, I'm not interested. I'm going to leave that to you guys. No, but his films almost made me go that way. Almost. They were that good to me.
But, John Cassavetes, here again, the father of the modern independent film movement. As Chuck Workman pointed out about Orson Welles, he truly was the start of independent filmmaking with his approach to filmmaking. So, John just picked it up, next generation, and now we've got Richard Linklater and Anderson doing it now.
And everybody's had a history lesson. But it's a good history lesson that people need to go revisit these movies. You need to go out and to support them. All types of movies out there.
That is for darn sure.
Talk about your movies that you had. Talk about Culver City. We got to talk about your movies.
Oh, Culver City Film Festival. Yes, we had the world premiere on Saturday of a short experimental film I executive produced, written and directed by Ned Airbar. Ned was here on Halloween. With another one of our projects, Bitter. This one was like comments.
How did that do, by the way?
Bitter?
Yeah.
I
It was a little
can't.
short.
I can't disclose yet.
Okay.
But
it
I
was
have
well watched. Did you at least see the viewers?
I have a smile on my face. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, good. Positive news.
Can't say anything. So, no, but like, comment, subscribe. We had the world premiere at Culver City Film Festival, and then of course Bunker, which already found a home on DirecTV, their Shorts HD program. We're still playing in festivals with Bunker, and that played as well. It was very well received. The Culver City Film Festival itself, it was the first one. I've been trying to get a festival in Culver City for decades now. This John Grusha did. Only I wonder seriously if the festival will be back next year, and if it is back, will he still be running it? A lot of problems. We still don't know. There were allegedly winners. We don't know.
That's not good.
Who they are. There was quite a bit of confusion, which you expect, and I think part of it was because of being at different venues on different sides of the city.
Were there good events at night too to promote it? And
No,
That's a whole other story.
That's a whole other can of worms. Whole other can of worms.
With this, I nominate you to pick this up and run with it. You can run with the Culver City, and I'll help out with the Hollywood Film
for
Festival.
sure. And we'll help post the red carpets and everything. Debbie, you'd be fabulous.
I'm now executive producing 4 different films. I don't think
you have
so.
nothing else to do.
I have nothing else.
I know
to
you
do.
have no life.
I've got.
Where do you, Brian?
I have 148 outlets, print and online around the world. I have a new radio show I'm going to be doing come January.
On Mondays, right? 10 to 11 to 12?
Uh-huh.
Very cool. And what's the show going to be called?
It is called Behind the Lens.
Behind the Lens with Debbie
That's a
Lynn
good name.
Elias on Adrenaline
Elias.
Radio.
Elias.
I'm so sorry.
This silence.
Yes.
If I were back in second grade, I'd be sending you. I wouldn't be answering you, and I'd be in the principal's office again.
And I was the top speller all the way through. So I'm so sorry.
But with that I could see that happening. I can see you doing Culver City, your radio show, and all these other things going on, and I see me doing this, helping out with the Hollywood Film Festival and all that stuff, and we would take over.
Well, I don't know about that. And then, of course, I moderate Q&As, and I really love doing that.
All right, you. What's been happening with you?
Yeah, what have you been up to besides?
Because you're still always working.
I am.
I had to remind her to talk about what she's been working on. She forgot.
Well, because she's doing so many different things.
I am, and that's where it gets hard. It's like finding that balance, and where you, as actors, it's like we want to be everywhere at once. And even Christy Oldham, Brian and I had the pleasure of going to her red carpet event on the other night for her manual on To a Happy Healthy Dog, and all the proceeds went to tail waggers. And I asked her advice, and she said, just keep showing up, even when you're down, even when you don't feel like it, just keep showing up.
And the strange thing, Debbie, is that I didn't know Anne. I met her on a horror set of this terrible horror movie, but she worked in my friend Christy's movie, and then we met later on. Mm-hmm. And the strange thing is, this book came out of, I took Christy to a party for Cesar Millan through National Geographic. And so that's where this book came from a year and a half ago.
Is that where she kind of started and got
That's where it came from.
Wow. Well, I'm very interested in the fact that Brian has been helping Christy with the dog walking. And I know the other day you walked 18 of her dogs.
Well, no, we've been doing separate dog walkings. We just happen to be doing dog walkings.
Unbelievable. Do you have any funny stories of the dogs not getting along, or?
No, I can handle them
leg,
because of handling horses. I'm okay, but it's what people don't understand. It's physically and mentally exhausting because you got to make sure that certain dogs go together.
Yes.
Some of the bigger dogs
How do you
don't like the
figure that
little
out?
ones.
You just a trial and error, I guess.
You kind of figure it out in a way, and then you got to make sure everything goes okay. Some of them can't eat the same thing, and luckily we have a storage area where it's big enough that it's as big as both these studios that they can roam around.
Because food is their biggest
It's air conditioned. You got to have the TV on, and then you bring in another dog, and all of a sudden they go wild, and you got to sit and wait to make sure everything's okay. So it's like little kids playing in a little playground.
Goodness.
It's like wrangling the 5 cats in my house.
Kind of. Yeah, it's probably the exact same thing. Where your cats can turn on the faucet.
Yeah.
Are they well behaved? Because something just came down on, is your cat badly behaved? And they're doing a big show on it. Can we bring in any of Debbie's cats for the casting? If there are any of your daughters, I'm sure they're a little feisty, right?
I have 3 boys and 2 girls.
Are any of the boys gay? Because my
No.
friend Whitney's cat in New York City is gay. And
No.
he's very...
No, mine are all just rambunctious.
Okay. Rescues, or did you...
Every single one is a rescue.
Very cool.
That's good.
Yoda and Chewbacca, I actually watched them be born. They were actually born on my birthday.
Oh.
And Yoda is the one who's been treated for degenerative heart disease and a thyroid issue. And, gotta say, City of Angels, Dr. Jason Arndt, veterinary cardiologist, he saved his life.
Wonderful.
And everybody over there at City of Angels, Access Medical in Culver City. It's the emergency hospital where the little white dog that got run over in that high-speed chase a few months ago, that's where he was taken.
Oh.
The little cat that had the microchip put in that went into the spine, that's where the little cat was taken.
So they're very forward-thinking, very technologically advanced.
When I get sick, I want to go to City of Angels Access Medical in Culver City.
Yeah.
They are top of the line. They've got they have radiation oncologists, ophthalmologists, dermatologists, two cardiologists, Jason Art and Stephen Cole. They're board certified. It's amazing. And then the support staff, the registered veterinary technicians, registered veterinary nurses, they are all
Well, it was
wonderful.
interesting because I was watching public radio, KPCC, it was a TED Talk, and a cardiologist from, I believe, Kaiser Permanente was attending veterinary conferences because they were learning so much that animal behavior really lends to people behavior. And,
Absolutely.
And going through manic depression, and especially all the psychiatrics.
Animals get depressed too, yes.
Absolutely. Like there was a gorilla in Berlin or something, he was depressed, and they helped, and this doctor helped a lot of the people. So, and she said, we really have to get over because it's a caste system in the medical. Surgeons are, God, not to rip on anybody, but even she said they look at other doctors as like a lower than thou, and surgeons are now going to veterinary conferences learning so much.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
There is so much cutting edge in veterinary care that's going on.
Because we are animals.
Yeah.
Really.
I
Some of us more than others.
when I had to rush Yoda there back in July, it was amazing. They come running out. They put him on oxygen, little mini oxygen tubes to help him breathe. They have MRI facilities there, electrocardiograms, flash ultrasounds, full-blown ultrasounds. That's why I said, if I'm sick, I want to go there.
Sure.
And that's kind of what Christy was talking about in the books on different dogs.
I was flipping through it. It's so interesting.
Why dogs do certain things. I haven't found a good cat book that would be interesting yet.
Well, mine will never be in any book because I don't think any cats do what mine do.
Well, Debbie, do you subscribe to Cat Fancy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yoda's too fancy for Cat Fancy.
Okay.
Hey, you got to talk about your commercial that's coming up for Super Bowls. It's, things
that
will
was
come quick.
I wish it was bigger than that. It was. I was part of the Super Bowl Doritos challenge of Crash the Super Bowl, and people can vote. And I really hate doing the please vote for me, please vote for a commercial. And I just,
which is why I asked you about it.
which is so sweet. Thank you. I'm doing it more for the director because my mom was already mad again that I was. Do you have to be in another bikini, flipping your hair, pretending to eat Doritos, But on that one, it was a low budget, and the director was great. But you always get somebody in the cast like playing an extra that's overly sweaty and overly enthusiastic, and thinking that you really are in fact into them, and you're really not, because you have to remind them that you're not. This is a role that I'm playing. I'm not really into you. So
Exactly.
It was kind of watching the footage. You can almost tell that I'm trying to get away from this guy, but it was interesting. And so we are in a Crash the Doritos Super Bowl, or Crash the Super Bowl Doritos commercial going up for a contest to be shown. So
yeah, this is the second or third year that they've been doing that, because I know some guys that have actually made shorts. Some of the guys from the backstage who are filmmakers, they actually I think it was last year or the year before.
Well, and they're still playing in the national commercial from last year. Was a couple in Orange County. Remember that? The grocery store and the kid with the cowboy. They're still playing that all the time. So good for them. But Brian and I went to this fabulous red carpet event for Christy, and it was just somebody was dressed as a dog with all with the face, and somebody had like $500 Cartier sunglasses on their little dog. And
that was cute to see, actually.
Yeah,
and it was called Tail Waggers.
Tail Waggers.
His name
Wait
was
a minute.
Todd Warmer.
$500 Cartier sunglasses on a dog, and you're saying that was cute to see?
Well, no, I like the dog. I like.
It was the event. No, I agree with you, Debbie.
Yeah.
It was cute for us to see the event, but
that doesn't mean I
approved
of it.
Not at all. That same dog I saw at the Pebble de Concours in Pebble Beach, which was. It's so beyond the scope of reality. It's not even the top 2% of the world. It's like the top 8%. It just the amount of wealth, and the dogs were dripping with De Beers and Cartier, and it was just with their owners driving McLarens, and it was interesting. So a couple of those dogs were there. I recognized because they're all over Instagram. Because some of these people, I think. It's their children, as you are with their cats.
Yeah. Well, they want to be they're
stage moms.
They want to be the canine grumpy cat.
Absolutely. Oh, I know, which is taking off like crazy.
Can you believe that was the big revelation this week
for Lifetime? Right? Is it just on Lifetime?
Well, there was the Grumpy Cat Christmas movie, which I saw. I was
a Hallmark.
It was not. I was not that impressed with it. No, the Hallmark Christmas movies this year that I have loved are the signed, sealed, delivered ones with.
That's good.
yeah, they are just.
The Dean Canes and the Pat Muldoons of the world doing all that.
Well, the Dean Cain ones are okay. I am in love with North Pole with my friends Bailey Madison and Max Charles, which now there's going to be another North Pole next year.
Is it super cheesy or is it kind of?
It is so charming and heartwarming, and of course, speaking of classic, who plays Santa and Mrs. Claus in North Pole on the Hallmark Channel? Robert Wagner and Jill St. John.
Yep.
See, we're doing classic here today. Here,
Okay.
Anybody that couldn't pick up on that, it's a very classic.
Well,
kind of
I'm going
day.
to keep that classic theme going then, because I love the American experience. I love PBS stuff. Ripley's Believe It or Not, it's coming January 6th on Tuesday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern on PBS. I love their stuff. Last week, they had Bing Crosby Rediscovered, which was great. Going back and studying history.
Right.
I call him the first mogul. This guy had everything.
He gave us Hogan's Heroes. That's all I care about.
He
White
put
Christmas.
Louis Armstrong in high society.
According to public radio, he was a real player too. Kind of interesting.
Well, it's interesting to see the aspects of things. So, it's, again, having different ages. Still, you need to go out there, see those movies. You need to rediscover and look at the history of where we came from. All important. Absolutely. Movies you want to see anything coming up?
Oh, let's see. Coming up for me, no, just a lot of television lately. So I'm doing another Showgirl gig on Tuesday for a big game show. Showgirl thing on Saturday. It's been a lot of dance stuff, because for the holidays there's a lot of, they hire you for things for that. I'm trying to think of what else
and
I'm
then
doing.
a New Year's Eve thing.
Oh, that's going to be in Las Vegas at Aria. I do that every year. But on next Friday the 19th, I'm representing KTLA and Roma Costumes. We're doing
Again,
we're doing a 9 days giveaways. So I'll be on that. And they have another fashion show on the 22nd. But I fly home on the 21st. I won't be able to do that.
and that means next Friday you won't be here to see Santa. Yes, we will have.
Oh yeah.
Greg Gill,
That's right.
president of the Wilshire Rotary Club, will be here. He does this wonderful thing. He looks just like Santa, and every year at the Rotary Club charity events, Christmas tree lots, he dresses up as Santa.
Very cool.
And Greg is going to be here.
Great.
Next
Well,
week.
maybe I'll try. I just have to run, and then I have a Midnight Mission charity that night as well. The Midnight Mission downtown that takes care of. I think it's teens getting off the street. So I've done a couple things with them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Well, that's a matter that matters.
It does matter. Yeah, it's a huge. And I think where is that one? That's Oh, are you doing the Debbie Allen hot chocolate nutcracker tonight too?
No, we
You're
can't
not.
be every place.
I know. I was going to say, which one are you going to be
No,
able to go to?
I support that.
Right.
I like Debbie. I mean, matter of fact, you did talk to Debbie. You're the only one to talk to Debbie.
Well, thanks to you. Yeah, that was.
And where is the Debbie Allen Dance Studio located?
Well,
either North
tonight.
Hollywood.
Well, the function tonight is at Royce Hall at UCLA.
Right.
But her dance studio is actually in Culver City.
That's right.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
in her hood.
Yes.
Culver City is a happening place.
It's a cool place.
Hackers like going there to hit Sony.
And so
Oh my
Sony's right
God.
there.
So it's always fun.
Are you near the Trader Joe's? Where are you? Where are you? Right near where that Ross is?
No, I'm at Sony.
Oh, you are right there.
I'm
That's
right there.
Fabulous.
I'm right there.
Have you
Wow.
worked for Sony? What do you think
Yeah, a
about
couple
that
times,
stuff?
Well, I did. What did I just?
Because having worked for them, your personal information could have been compromised.
I know, exactly. And did they ever find out if the hacker was in fact a Korean or if it was just an inside
Not
job?
yet.
Okay, but it makes you think. Like all the movies that we create to kill dictators and all these things,
And
it's
all the
gotta
stuff
be
that you got to
making-
sign away.
Absolutely. I mean, we give our birth certificates, our social security number, practically our imprint and blood and our firstborn to these studios. So, I mean, which, in the name of a job, you'll do anything really sometimes. But yeah, it is scary. It is scary. But they shut down for 48 hours, didn't they? All of their technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very scary.
And then there's still more stuff that's being released.
Right.
And so it's a dangerous situation.
Although it's like going to Target and Best Buy, who has all your stuff too. Target is still scary.
That's why
And pay cash.
I either pay cash or I write a check, which really upsets it.
You write a check?
I still write paper checks.
You're kidding.
I kid
It's
you
still
not.
the best thing. Believe it or not.
Probably.
They've
Wow.
got much less chance of getting any information.
Do you get scared though, just carrying your checkbook around, or do you take a couple blanks out and put it?
No.
Okay.
No. If you want my checkbook, you got to steal the purse. If you can lift 30 pounds,
Yes,
and
our
get it
purses.
and wrestle it off my arm.
You don't go into a woman's purse. It's embarrassing.
So, are there any movies for the holidays that you want to see?
Oh, by Christmas, I'm looking so forward to seeing that with my family again and recreating sisters and then fighting about it to see who's the lead. That's my sister and I.
What about your mom?
Oh, my mom. She has
She's got a competitive mom.
Well, I do, and it's so interesting because she is heading to Cancun today with a boyfriend, and she's very worried about it. Worried about because as single women, we're like, we need our space, and it's like she's going to be with him for like 9 days, and she's like, well, what if I have to go? What if I have to go work out? But he is also equally as insane. So he said to her, "We're going to hit the gym at least twice a day because the first thing you do when you go to Cancun, you hit the gym twice a day."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And they're all worried.
I'm with Debbie on this.
Oh my goodness, they're all worried about like eating healthy, and I'm like, Mom, you need to indulge. You need to enjoy yourself. So
That's not why you go to Cancun.
I know,
No.
but they're both obsessed.
No, not at all.
Yes, and they're two peas in a pod. I'm like, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I have to say, a great movie that is coming out that I've already seen, Big Eyes.
I'm going to see it. I think Tuesday.
And then, of course, Christmas Day, Into the Woods comes out. Who doesn't love Stephen Sondheim?
And Meryl Streep.
Who doesn't love Meryl Streep? And, of course, there is a to die for performance by Chris Pine singing the acclaimed Agony
Is it
song.
actually him singing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You haven't worked with Chris yet, have you?
I did from afar in another movie where I played a stripper. He was actually in the next room, but I didn't get to work with him per se.
I'm sure he noticed you.
Oh, I don't know. Remember the one movie, The Gambler, we saw, and I'm all over like The Gambler. I'm named as like the fourth person in, and we barely even saw my head. I was like, "Oh, Brian, there's me. Stellar performance." Which, by the way, my mom sent me because we compare nutrition and fitness notes all the time. Mark Wahlberg to diet down for The Gambler, which Brian and I both saw together. That was so much fun. Thank you. He lost, I think, 30 pounds and drank a venti Starbucks of almond milk per day. So three 8-ounce shots per day of almond milk. That's all he had to get down for that. So.
And I hear the music.
And give you Twitter, Instagram.
Oh, thank you so much. It's all at Ann McDaniels, ANNEMCDANIELS.
Debbie.
Movie Shark D on Twitter. Find me on Facebook, Debbie Lynn Elias.
And I'm Brian Sebastian. You've been listening to it. Revised classic movies and new movies coming out that everybody needs to see.
Absolutely.
Movie reviews and more. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.
Drive carefully in the
Santa.
rain.
Absolutely.
Woohoo!